So I'm going to share something shadow work related, what's coming up, because with this awakening process there is like a lot of layers of shadow work coming up on the surface, coming up, and they just keep coming up and keep coming up, and different layers. You kind of circle, and it feels like you're keep coming up to the same stuff, but you see it in like more subtleties. You see it in more subtleties, more clearly, something what hasn't been able to be seen before. You come back to the same thing and you can see deeper, more subtle things, like more subtle, yeah. So what I have realized now, I have some kind of like a feeling like I have a mission to complete in my life. And my mission in this life is to create like happy relationship, like happy ever after, like ideal version of relationship, which probably is tied to my childhood, to my family system, like the way we grow up, the way mom and dad, they get on between themselves. And seeing that my mom wasn't happy, I'm just assuming, like I'm just making assumptions, saying that my mom wasn't happy in her relationship, and that really affected her, that deep feel of unhappiness in her. I took it like it's my responsibility to complete that mission what she failed. So if I can complete that mission, she will eventually can rest in peace, because she died now, she passed away. But that's just, that's what I see very clearly now. It just becomes like clearer and clearer. I did notice that before, but now it just becomes like very clearly seen what is driving a lot of my behavior, relational behavior with other humans. And there is that feeling of the age comes into play as well. Like my marriages, they failed, and I feel like I'm not completing the mission what I supposed to be completing, and I'm feeling like I'm failing. Like, let's say, like I'm going to use analogy, if this life is like a computer game and you've been put in the life as this character to complete the mission and you're trying, and you just keep failing, and you just keep failing, and you just keep failing. And what it feels now, it's like your time start ticking out, tick tack, and you just, or like them when sand is falling down, them clocks, sand clocks, whatever they called in English, and you're running out of that sand, it's nearly there. Or how it feels like on a body level. It's like, imagine if you're underwater and you've been chained up, and there are these like locks around these chains, and different like boxes given to you, and in these boxes there are keys to open these locks on chains. So once you open these locks, chains like loose, and you get up and you just start, like you get oxygen, you can breathe, you can live. So I'm laughing, but it's not even funny because it feels like suffocating. And so imagine like you're underwater, there's chains around you, with locks in different places. There are very little tiny like boxes with different mechanisms to get keys to untangle chains. You need to open these boxes, but these boxes have different kind of mechanisms. You need to find a proper unlocking tools, how to open this. And what these tools, how to open these boxes. In my case, it feels like it's relational, my relationship with other humans. So I need to find like more precise tools how to navigate my relationship with other humans. So I'm making less mistakes. I can untangle myself faster because my time is running out. So imagine like if your time like goes backward and you see like this like minutes, seconds left, and you can see that oxygen level what you're breathing underwater is running down, 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 and it's on red. So, it starts flashing red, like your battery on the phone starts flashing red, like charge me, I'm going to die soon. Something like that. That's how it feels to me now, what is happening. I don't know where the fuck I'm getting that from, but that's how it feels. It's ridiculous. And I know mind creates all these stories, but and I know they're not real, but it keeps coming up. It does keep, like coming up, and you start to notice that like more and more clearly. And yeah, so it feels like, you have to become very focused on what you're doing. You can't make mistakes to untangle these boxes because you're literally running out of time. And if you run out of time and you don't complete your mission, you don't free yourself, that's it. That's it. You failed. And once time runs out and you haven't completed your mission, you will be like ever failure. You failed forever and ever. That's it. You never completed that, what you're supposed to complete in this incarnation, let's call it. Yeah. Or another analogy came up in mind. It is like there is that maze you've been put into. Like Google Maps, there is that yellow man. You can drag him and put into some places on the map. So imagine if there is like a maze and someone takes you and puts you into that maze and gives you a mission, like find the exit. That's what you need to do now. That's your mission in this game. So for me to find exit out of a game, my mission is to create this happy ever after relationship where there is no failure. That's what missing my childhood. And I just keep feeling, and I just keep feeling, and I just keep feeling. And this maze, it's like shrinking in size. So if I used to have like a lot of space to walk around, like to do maybe this strategy, maybe that strategy didn't work, like you bump your head, you scratch along this like harsh bushes, horns and things like this. And you just like, you become like exhausted and like physically damaged and all this. But you're still trying, like you're still trying to get out, to find the exit out of that maze. And so if you had like a lot of space to navigate yourself, to try different options, now it's like that maze is shrinking. It's again, you see that feel of like suffocation, feel like you have nowhere to move around left anymore much. Yeah, that feeling of ending. Feeling of ending. Feeling of ending. And it feels like existential. It's like, yeah, it's like you're going to die if you don't complete that. It just feels like that. And just that feel of you are the feeler. It just becomes so heavy. It's like that fallen sword. You can see it's like that sword is falling down. It's going to cut your head off, and that's the end of you, and you can't stop it. If you don't get out of that maze, that's going to happen. That's it. That maze is going to squeeze you down, the sword is going to fall, and it's going to cut your head, and you're dead. That's it. That's how it feels. A feeler. And you're going to die as a feeler. That's what is happening. And it becomes, like, it just feels like very strange. I just realized something, that maze and shadow work, it feels like you're circling in that maze actually. And you just becoming, like you kind of like scooping and scooping and scooping and scooping, and you just coming more like in the center of that maze, and there is no much space of movement. So yeah, this feel of Mission Impossible. You need to complete your mission and doing shadow work and seeing all these layers and layers and layers and layers. You just become like more and more and more to center to that, and there is like so little space left for movement. That's restriction. It's nearly like tangible on a physical level. So something like that is coming up for me. It's very strange how just like emotional work and emotional shadow work and non-duality are shifting, like shift from non-duality. Like yesterday there was this glimpse, not even one, it was like multiple glimpses of formlessness, something like that. Yeah, when that feeling of here becomes like unlocalized, and what is left is basically what you already see, feel, hear, but there is no description. You can't describe them. That something like that. And then say I wake up next day and like shadows keep coming up and keep coming up, keep surfacing, and it's been swinging like this for me. You go into non-duality, you go into shadow work. You go into non-duality, you go into shadow work. And it's not like even you going, it's like there is something happening in life, circumstances, like life is practicing you. It's not even like you deciding, oh, now I'm going to participate in non-duality, now I'm going to do practices. It doesn't happen like that at all, completely not in my case. It's just like this process is completely out of my control, completely out of my hands. I am not navigating it. You just can see like something is happening in life itself, and all your attention, all your interest swings, like shifts into non-duality. And you just like so passionate, you just full dive into that. And there's some practices you apply, you watch some videos and you apply that, what like what you heard, what you can do. Something shifts there, and then something happens in life, and there's like relational, emotional shadow work needs to be done. And then my interest about non-duality just drops completely. I just feel like it's no awakening and nothing ever shifted. You just go back into this like sense of me who is trying to do something emotional, relational, shadow, and it just untangles that, and just like scooping that shadow stuff, and processing these layers and see these coping mechanisms, see these scenarios, how they are playing. You see how conditioning has formed all that behavior patterns, and how these behavior patterns affecting your relational interactions with other humans, how it affects you, what emotional reactions are coming up, why you're reacting this way, why you're feeling this way, what needs you're trying to meet, like in the moment, or like boundaries. You're losing boundaries as separation, but same time like unresolved emotional relational boundaries become so important through this process, like something what hasn't been formed, it comes back as priority number one, needs to get back as it should be healthy. So it's kind of like life puts you in circumstances, you become more authentic instead of these coping strategies, coping mechanisms, adaptations, what you have learned through life, through conditioning, your nerve system, your psyche learned. So now you're kind of like untangling, you seeing all that through, it's all gets released, dropped off, released, more free, and just you just start become more authentic and more authentic and more authentic. And what happens lately is something happens in life, and that emotional discomfort with trying to hide behind old coping strategies, intensity of emotional discomfort. It's like there is so much pressure in the body and on the nervous system that you can't hold it back. It's like life, it just like flows through you so intensely through this emotional disturbance. That's a fear of being authentic and a fear of expressing yourself can't hold back that. So your pain of holding yourself back becomes stronger than fear of the consequences if you start to express yourself authentically. And then it literally feels like you're forced to do that, because you can't that emotional disturbance, and it affects like a whole physical body. You can't sleep, there is so much fears, there is so much rage, so much sadness comes up, you just can't suppress it anymore. And all this like emotional feelings, all this like physical what feels in the body when that comes up, it's like forces you through your fears what normally kept you back, and created these strategies how not to become authentic, like, so you suppress your authenticity, you put them behind fears, and you create this adaptation strategy mechanisms, and that's how you navigate in life and your relationship interactions with other humans. So it becomes unavailable for you because of this pressure moving through this body mind structure. So you just like, it's nearly like you have no choice, because it's, and some moments I just feels like you're going to explode if you don't speak up, if you don't do something what life is like forcing you to do. It literally feels like your body is going to explode if you still if you still try to keep it down and hold it, hold it within yourself. Literally feels like, the pressure cooker, boom, is going to explode. So you literally are forced to express yourself authentically, what you normally, like all my life, I did fear to do. I was scared to speak up. I was scared to set boundaries. I was scared to advocate for myself, for my needs. So, yeah. So, from one perspective, a sense of self is dissolving. From another perspective, that sense of self becomes like more authentic. It's like becomes more clear, more as it actually is, without all these masks. It's like masks are dropping off and dropping off and dropping off, and you can no longer hide behind them because of this pressure. What comes up with trying to shrink yourself back into this small me and to hide behind fears or behind shame. So something like that is happening.